Today on Forbes, how AI data centers could save California's high-speed rail project. With the clawing back of $4 billion in federal grants to support it, the Trump administration seems hell-bent on ensuring that California's high-speed rail project ends up as precisely the, quote, train to nowhere the president has lambasted it as. Governor Gavin Newsom is suing to keep the money, but the train's new CEO has big ideas for saving the priciest U.S. infrastructure project. They include new long-term funding, private partnerships, and even turning to one of California's newest so-called natural resources, the AI data center. Ian Choudri, who spent decades working on global mega infrastructure projects for major engineering firms Bechtel, Alstom, and Parsons, before taking the high-speed rail job last September, is on a mission to convince skeptics that after years of slow progress, the Golden State's bullet train from San Francisco to Los Angeles can be built, perhaps for less than its $128 billion price tag, and even without federal support. Without providing financial details, he told Forbes, quote, "We'll show that it becomes less cumbersome on taxpayers because it's generating revenue." In addition to future ride revenue, he thinks the system can make money by letting tech firms build data centers on its land, powering them with solar farms that will also propel its trains. Other ideas include selling the rights to telecom companies to lay fiber optic cable along the train's path, and promoting real estate development projects on its route, particularly in the lower-priced Central Valley region. Choudri said, quote, "We're getting contacted by Silicon Valley investors now asking, hey, can we move data centers into Fresno and plug into your power grid that's renewable? If I combine all those ancillary revenue sources, roughly it's going to be 30% to 40% of the farebox revenue." Choudri was planning to submit a revised plan this week that maps out steps to complete an initial 119-mile segment through California's Central Valley by 2033, and then expand service north to San Francisco and San Jose, and south to Palmdale in Southern California as soon as 2039, with Los Angeles to follow later. His focus is on sequencing construction phases to maximize revenue as quickly as possible, making the project less dependent on government money. Choudri, sitting in a conference room overlooking the copper-topped California Capitol building in Sacramento, said, quote, "Build the initial sections where you can, start using the service, have the highest impact on the economic transformation of the towns and cities that are getting connected, and then add more value by monetizing all the assets you have along the corridor. That's so critical in our new approach because it offsets a lot of this demand for continuous funding, whether federal, state, or a combination of both, because your system goes live and becomes a corridor of opportunities for everybody." The plan is a massive change from the project's past, but it hinges on critical legislation. A long-term funding plan proposed in May by Newsom would provide an additional $20 billion, or $1 billion a year through 2045, along with a bill to speed up permitting for high-speed rail authority construction work and relocate portions of roads and utilities that are in the way. State Senator Scott Wiener of San Francisco, who authored the permitting bill, isn't certain the funding plan will be authorized in the current session that ends on September 12th, but he thinks support for the project is improving. Senator Wiener said, quote, "People want to see a solid plan to deliver the project in a timely manner, and people are looking for new approaches, creative approaches, to deliver the project more efficiently and more quickly." Choudri has built up his team with rail and infrastructure veterans, including construction chief Edward Fenn, who helped build Brightline's Florida system, and Soon-Sik Lee, chief of planning and engineering, who previously worked on the UAE's Etihad high-speed rail line and Caltrain. For full coverage, check out Alan Owensman's piece on Forbes.com. This is Kieran Meadows from Forbes. Thanks for tuning in.